Hello to any students, parents or carers listening to this second recording in the series of revision walkthroughs. And this one is going to focus on Leitner flashcards. So just to reintroduce myself, my name is Mrs. Howell. I'm the Assistant Principal at William Humes Grammar School for Teaching and Learning. And we will be going through this session 2 in a series of sessions on revision. So this is just a quick reminder of what sessions are available. So hopefully you've already watched session 1, which is on retrieval and memory, and then looking at some strategies for this, including the brain dump, the concept map and retrieval cards. So hopefully you've tried using some of these already. And today's session will be doing a deep dive into using Leitner flashcards in a way that's effective and simple for your revision. In sessions 3 and 4, we will be moving on to note-taking, to self-quizzing, to looking at studying with a peer, and also use of graphic organisers. So those videos will be readily available too. So before we get started on flashcards, this is just a quick reminder of the benefits of retrieval, because flashcards does involve retrieving information, as do all effective revision strategies. If you haven't watched the previous session, then just a quick explanation of how memory works and the process of retrieval. So working memory, a little bit like our school bag. We can only store so many items of knowledge in there. It can become easily overloaded. However, it's also easily accessible. Long-term memory is more like a bookshelf, so it means we can store much more information there, but it's harder to locate the specific item of knowledge that we're looking for. So the act of retrieval then is pulling items from long-term memory back into working memory so that we can use that knowledge as and when we need to use it. Really important for exams, because when you are faced with that exam question, you want to be able to pull whatever knowledge is needed to be able to answer that question successfully. So the act of retrieval and that hard thinking that's involved in retrieving items of knowledge from long-term memory is really, really beneficial as part of your revision. Now on to how to create and use flashcards. First of all, ensure you are using a trusted resource. This could be class notes, it could be a revision booklet, it could be a textbook. Write your question on one side of the flashcard and the answer on the back. Keep it short and concise. Flashcards are not the right method for writing out whole paragraphs of content. You must attempt to retrieve the answer. This could be by writing it down or saying it out loud. You could, of course, quiz with a partner, saying the answer out loud to each other, or writing your own answers down and then comparing. Flashcards, as with all revision techniques, must be used little and often. So I'm going to go through the Leitner method later on, which is a specific technique to help you space out this revision, but also ensure that you are testing on the most fragile knowledge, the pieces of information that you're finding harder to remember the most often. So first thing you need to do when creating your flashcards is simplify the information. Here is a whole paragraph on nerve cells, and we've taken one important piece of information to write as a question and answer on the front and the back of our flashcard. Question on the front, answer on the back. So you must not be able to see the answer because, of course, you are going to retrieve it from memory. This will not be the only piece of important information about nerve cells. So here we have to take other important details and again create simplified questions and answers. So what we mean when we say create flashcards that are numerous is from that same bit of information we're going to create numerous simple questions and answers. And this is also how we keep our flashcards short and concise. Finally, we want to overlearn each item of knowledge. So not only do we ask why the nerve cell is extended, but we also ask how it's adapted to move and travel around the body, eliciting the answer, it is extended. This is what we call overlapping or posing questions in both directions. Another example would be if you had a key vocabulary flashcard with the answer as the definition, but you'd also have a flashcard with the definition on, and you need to come up with the word itself as the answer. So you're posing those questions in both directions, encountering that same piece of important knowledge in different ways, and that's going to help make sure that that knowledge becomes embedded in your long-term memory and secure, and ultimately is at your fingertips when you are in the examination hall. Okay, so I mentioned earlier in this presentation that I would be showing you a specific method for flashcards. So once you've created your flashcards that are simple, they are numerous, and they are overlapping, we're then going to use Leitner method. So how this works is we have 3 compartments. Compartment 1 is where all your flashcards go initially. So put them all in compartment 1 to be tested on every single day. Whenever you get a flashcard correct, you move it into compartment 2, and this is to be tested on alternate days. If you get it correct again, you're going to move it over to compartment 3, and that's where you test on those questions weekly. Now you could set a specific day of the week. Sometimes I write Friday on, you might prefer a Sunday. Completely up to you, as long as they are being tested on weekly. However, and this is a really important part, if you at any point get those questions wrong, they go all the way back to compartment 1 to be tested on daily. This particular method has various different benefits. First of all, it makes sure that you are using that idea of little and often with your revision, but it also makes sure that the knowledge that you're least secure on is tested on the most, and that's really important. It also makes you very aware of what the gaps are in your knowledge. So if you've got flashcards in that test daily part, then you know that they are the less secure items of knowledge, and you know that you're going to want to go back over them in other ways as well. So you might be looking at some of the other revision videos and thinking, okay, I need to do a brain dump on this topic, or I need to have a go at a different type of question or make notes on it. Find some other ways to make sure that it firms up in your long-term memory. A couple of rules for using Leitner method as well, and that's the 3 R's. First of all, retrieve, reorder, repeat. So you must retrieve the information. It might be that you're looking at a question and you think, I don't know, I actually can't remember. You still should have a go at it. Doesn't matter if you get the question wrong. Actually, studies show that when we do answer incorrectly and we give ourselves that corrective feedback by having a look at the answer after we've retrieved it, it helps avoid us making that same mistake again. It helps us remember the correct answer. So make sure you try to retrieve it by saying it out loud or by writing it down. Reorder, so make sure you shuffle your deck of cards. Make sure you don't keep quizzing in the exact same order. The danger with that is that you might memorize them in a specific order and you don't know what order those questions are going to come up in the exam. So that just gives you that flexibility with the knowledge. And then finally, repeat. You must keep those cards in your deck until you've answered them correctly at least 3 times. And finally, I mentioned this before, but posing questions in both directions is the same as overlapping. It means that your question and your answer need to be varied, so you're encountering that same piece of knowledge in different forms. There is a video at the bottom here if you'd like further instructions on how to use this Leitner method with your flashcards. Okay, so that is flashcards. Hopefully you're feeling really keen to go off now and create lots of flashcards and put them in the 3 compartments for the Leitner method. Obviously all your cards, start in compartment 1, of course. But just quickly before we finish, in case you haven't watched the other sessions, I'm going to go over the key ingredients of effective revision. So it's just a reminder that your revision should be active and not passive. So we're avoiding techniques like rereading or highlighting where your brain may be distracted by other things. You make that revision active by doing things like retrieval. and self-quizzing. Metacognitive, that means that you're reflecting on your successes and your areas to work on. One really simple way to do this is to have a think about the parts that were harder to remember and just write a couple of key headings. So one being what went well and the other one being things to work on next time, and just making a couple of bullet points as to the strengths and the areas to develop. With the flashcard method, it's really easy to do this because whatever flashcards are in compartment 1 are the ones that contain the knowledge you really need to go over. Desirable difficulties, so sometimes it will feel hard to retrieve that knowledge, and that's a good thing. It means your revision is effective, it's working, it will enter your long-term memory in the long run. And it could be social, so you could be having a go at your flashcards with a partner, with a peer, with a parent, with a carer, and especially if it's someone from your class or from your year group, you'll have slightly different perspectives which can further aid your memory. Again, if you've watched the previous video, you will have heard me talking about revision top tips. So this is just another reminder that little and often is the most effective way to revise. Planning those rest days and breaks, but please do not cram last minute because it doesn't work. It's certainly not anywhere near as effective as well planned out, spaced revision. We've talked about the need for revision to feel hard and to be active. And we've talked about the benefits of it sometimes being social as well. In the next session, I will talk about Cornell notes, and I will also be talking about elaborative interrogation as a way to quiz with a partner. Dialogue around revision, so just even as simple as discussing what's gone well and what hasn't gone so well in a revision session with a member of your family can be really effective. Tell me 3 in just a minute. I will go over in the social revision session, as well as the Feynman technique, which is ultimately teaching. And then finally, revision well-being. So make sure your diet and your hydration levels are good, and that your nighttime routine is also good and you're getting a good amount of sleep. It's a good idea to keep your going to bed and getting up time as much as possible at the same time every day. And also the need to put technology to one side. So try to put your phone to one side, try not to listen to music while you're studying because it is just a distraction and prevents you from being focused with your study. So good luck. Please do have a go at those flashcards, and in the next session we will take a look at effective note taking.